Welcome to the Smarter Money Life podcast hosted by Andy Mattingly. Frequent guest on local TV news, regular segment on Indy Now TV, and a leader here at Forum Credit Union. Forum's mission is to help members lead their financial dreams, and in today's podcast, we're going to cover a topic that will help you improve your financial life. Have you heard of the 50-30-20 budget? Did you ever consider a transaction budget but didn't understand how it works? Hello everyone, this is Andy Mattingly, and I'm back today to explain budget concepts, specifically 4 or 5 different ones, and how they might be useful for your situation. Now, I think it's really important before I start talking about these is to remember that not all financial situations can be solved with the same tool, especially if budgeting is the tool that you're going to use. But there's a lot of different ways to budget, and they all have a unique purpose, which if you have a unique need, that's good because you can find the one that helps you the most. And remember, it's not the one that your parents use, it's not the one that your best friend uses, it's not the one that your boss uses. It's the one that works for you. So I want to explain some of them in just kind of a high-level detail so you can decide which one works for you. So let's start with the 50-30-20 budget. It's one of the most popular ones. This is where 50% goes to your needs. This is housings, transportations, things like that. And as an important point here, this is your net income per month. 30% goes towards wants, so eating out, entertainment, etc. And 20% goes to the future from paying off debt. So this is student loans. This would be credit cards, things like that, and saving for later. So that's how you put your net income budget together if you're using the 50-30-20. Now, another way is to do a budget pie. You select 10 categories or less that matter to you, and you put a percentage to each one of those categories. And the whole point here is that you've set what the budget's going to be. So if you want to spend more on wants than you do needs, then you're going to make those adjustments. But that's how you're going to make the decisions of where you're going to live, what kind of car you're going to use, what kind of vacations, things like that. Now, here's another one that if you really want to focus on retirement, it's the 50-15-5 budget. And I know the first thing you're going to say is, hey, that doesn't add up to 100%. But this is why. 50% goes to essential expenses, food, clothing, housing. 15% goes to retirement savings. So you're putting 15% to your retirement and 5% to short-term savings. So now what does the 30% go to? Whatever you want it to, because you've taken care of your essential expenses, you've taken care of retirement, and you've taken care of short-term savings. So now you have 30% to do with whatever you want. Now, another thing that you can do if you don't want to do it on a monthly basis is you can do the weekly spending plan. And this is where you're only putting in your discretionary spending. So let's say that you say each week, because it's best to do it each week, that you only want to spend $500. So you're taking care of all of the other expenses going somewhere else, and you've allotted $500 a week. So you start on Monday, you put that money in an account, and you spend from that account through Sunday. And if you run out of money, then you have to stop spending. And so you can't go out to eat. You can't do those other things. That's one of the ways that you can control if you just have a lot of impulse spending. Now, if you don't want to track money, there's something called a transaction budget. So you set the number of transactions you want to do per week. You put all of your money into your checking account and you pay everything from there. So if you set a transaction budget, this means everything that you do, utilities, grocery store, eating out, all comes out of there. And each week you say that you only want to do X number of transactions. So let's say you're only going to do 10 transactions per week, if that's your goal. When you've hit 10 transactions, you can't spend anymore. So that means if you need gas, if you have a bill that's due, things like that, that would be a problem because you can't go over your transaction budget. So you have to prioritize those, and that leaves you whatever transactions that you want to spend. It's a kind of unique way if really it's about the number of times you're spending that you want to control. Now there's something else. This is very similar. It's called the 60% solution. So you put 60% of your money to committed expenses. This is all bills, food, etc. The remaining 40% is split into 4 categories. Long-term savings, something big that you're saving for. Short-term savings, kind of like think emergency fund. Retirement. And then the last one is you put 10% to fund money. So what you've done is you've saying, hey, I'm going to live my life with 60%, but I'm going to live my future life and all the fun I'm going to have with the other 40%. So this is a good way if you're in a good position and you don't have a lot of debt that you can budget if you want. And now the last one is the no budget budget. And you're like, you just talked all about budgets and now you're saying I can do a no budget? Why didn't you start with that one? Well, it's not really a no budget, but it's just done differently. You divide your income into two accounts. One account is your committed expenses. So this is everything that you have to pay for that you get a bill for. The other one is your daily spending account. So you put enough money into your committed expenses account to cover everything that you have coming out. So this is all your loans, this is all of your streaming services and everything. And then your daily spending account is for money that you're using for groceries and eating out, things that aren't committed for you. So the reason why I say it's a no budget is you don't really have to track anything but see what your balance is. If you run out of money, you have to stop, but at least your committed expenses are still going to be paid. Now, I've shared with you several different budgeting methods. The point is you need to find the one that works for you. And what works for you today may not be the one that you want in 5 years or in 10 years, but you may make changes to it over time. A budget is not something that you set and forget. A budget is something that you're always updating, that you're always trying to find different ways to make it work. Bottom line, there are many options for budgeting. Your task, find the one that fits your money personality. This has been another episode of the Smarter Money Life podcast powered by Forum Credit Union. Please leave your thoughts in the comments and be sure to look for our next episode wherever you get your podcast. Remember, now is a great time to make a difference in your financial life. Until next time.